Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel and my first YouTube video. I hope that this goes alright. I'm hopefully going to eventually learn and upgrade and get some better equipment. But really what I want to cover in this channel is cybersecurity. So that's what I do as a profession, and I'd like to share some knowledge with the world. You know, that's how we all help each other and that's how we learn. So I really want to cover defensive and offensive cybersecurity, red team and blue team, some tactics and techniques that threat actors use and how to defend against them. So really for this video, what we're going to be looking at is the identity perimeter and securing privileged accounts on ADDS, or the old on-prem AD. So in the modern world, there are a lot of cloud IDPs, IAMs, modern authentication such as Entra and Okta. Generally, those are quite secure. They have mechanisms and technologies built into them already, such as MFA. You can set up zero trust policies, etc., etc. Unfortunately, ADDS, or the old Active Directory, is relatively insecure. It's full of security gaps, and it's a very old system. Most companies these days have a hybrid environment, so they do have the cloud identity, but generally they sync their ADDS to their cloud identity, sync objects to Entra, for example, and that's where the security gap is. If threat actors can get into the environment, they generally target ADDS. Ransomware affiliates love that because there are so many security gaps. It's possible to use a standard account and with general misconfigurations within AD, do privilege escalation, move laterally, and eventually attain domain dominance or domain administration privileges. And from there, I can easily deploy ransomware and do whatever I like. So today I'd just like to go over and just cover a very simple method for securing privileged accounts, which is built into ADDS. I haven't seen it being used a lot. And it's been around since Server 2012 R2, and it's called Authentication Policies and Authentication Silos. So just about my environment. So I've got a Server 2019 domain controller, and I've got two Server Windows 11 workstations, Workstation 1 and Workstation 2. So to enable authentication policies and authentication silos, what we need to do first is create group policies to apply some settings to our workstations and our domain controller. So I need two policies, one DC policy, which I've already created here. And the settings for that policy, let me just open it, is computer configuration. You go into policies, you go into administrative templates, you go into system, and KDC, the key distribution center for Kerberos. And what I want to do is enable KDC support for claims compound authentication and Kerberos armoring. I want to set it to enabled and I want to set it on supported. Right. Then what I also need is a client policy. So it's in the same location, computer configuration, administrative templates, system, and I want to enable Kerberos on that. So if I can just find Kerberos, there it is, and Kerberos client support for claims compound authentication and Kerberos armoring, and I just want to set that to enabled. Right, and once that's done, I obviously want to apply those policies. The client one, I can generally, for this demonstration purposes, I'm applying it to the root, but you can apply it to wherever your computers are in whichever OU, and the DC policy I want to apply in the domain controller's OU. Right, and then obviously I have to restart the domain controller and the client. Don't do that during production hours, or I can do a GP update force to apply those settings. Then what I've got for demonstration purposes as well, if I've got two accounts. So I've got Michael Rice and I've got Michael thrice. I skipped over Michael twice. So Michael Rice, we've got domain admin, so he's a privileged account, and Michael thrice is a normal standard domain user. Okay, and what I really want to prevent, I want to prevent Michael Rice from logging into workstation 1, but I'll allow him to log into workstation 2. Okay, just for demonstration purposes. And obviously, once you can use this methodology, and if you plan it well, you can really segment and micro-segment your environment. Right. So then, once I've got those policies going, what I want to do is go to Active Directory Administrative Center. And under authentication, I get authentication policies and authentication policy silos. Right, so authentication policies, I want to create one. Right, so I want to create an authentication policy. Let's call it priv account policy. I can type. Right, protected from accidental deletion. And I want to enforce the policy restrictions. That's correct. So under user sign-on, I want to change the ticket granting lifetime to 90 minutes or an hour and a half. I can make this whatever I want. So I can also set other settings if I want to, but for demonstration purposes, we're just going to do that for the moment. Right, and I want to create that, created, and I want to create a silo. So the policy is just the settings that are going to apply, and the silo is the ring fence, the wall around that account and that workstation or that computer account. So I want to create a policy silo, and let's call it silo. I want to enforce the silo policies. Then the permitted accounts. Okay, firstly what I want to do is I want to apply the policy to that account, and under the permitted account I want to add, firstly let's add the workstation. So, oh wait, that's not the correct name. So let's do that. Check the names. All right, there we go. So workstation 2 should be allowed to authenticate the workstation 2. I'm going to add the Michael Rice account. Right, good. That's all good, all done. And on apply that. Then what I want to do is I want to go to workstation 2, search it under global, go to silo, and I want to apply that authentication silo to that computer account. And then after that, what I also want to do is I want to apply that to the admin account. So I want to go to silo, I want to assign the policy, that admin account. Great, so that's been done. So what I want to do then is just go to policies or to the silo and just ensure that's been applied. So if I go down, you can see user account, service account, and computer account's been applied. And what I want to do here is I want to add the accounts. So let's check for Michael Rice. Right, there we go. And let's add the workstation. Again. There we go. Cool. And apply that. Right. Then if I want to go to policies, I want to ensure, actually this is incorrect. Let's remove that. That has to be under silos. So apologies about that. If we go to silos, we should see those accounts there. Yeah, and you can see the green tick means they've been assigned. So I've assigned them on the account itself. Also, I want to enforce the silo policy. All right, so that's been enforced. So if I go to my policy again, right, I'll see it's been enforced. And what I want to do now under accounts, under user sign-on, is I want to not apply it to all resources. I want to add a condition. So if the user's authentication silo equals the value of priv, and obviously I have to ensure that this is the exact name of the silo. Priv account silo, get that string correct. If the authentication silo equals that, then I want to apply it. Right, so just to recap, under policy, so I've got enforced policy restrictions, I've got the silo assigned to it, I've got a 90-day TGT, and I've got the conditions assigned. Okay, then under the silo, I've got the workstation 2 and the user, right, and I've got them assigned as well, and I want to enforce it. Okay, and then I've obviously got the policy assigned as well. Right, so let's test it. So what I want to do is I just want to remove all Kerberos tickets that are currently valid. So let's go purge it with klist purge. Tickets have been purged. Right, and let's test that. So what we want to do is let's sign into workstation 1. And let's sign into workstation 2. Let's give that a bit of time. And it signed in successfully to both, which isn't great. But as you can see, it seems like it took a little while to actually apply. And if you look at notifications, there's a notification that came up that we need to sign out and sign in with our new credentials. So let's do that. And I believe once we do that, the policy would have applied. So let's sign out of this as well. And let's try and sign in again. And there we go. Your account's been configured to prevent you from signing into this PC. Please try another PC. And lastly, what we want to do is we want to test authentication silo by using some tools, some offensive tools. So we'll use Impacket PSExec, which is a nice tool for getting a shell as system, which is obviously the most privilege you can have on any machine. And let's see what it does if we try to connect to our protected workstation. There we go. It says account restriction indicates a reference to user account authenticator information are valid, but for some user account restrictions has prevented successful authentication. So our authentication silo has successfully prevented Impacket PSExec from connecting. You can see it's the Michael Rice account on our domain with the very strong password of password123 exclamation mark. Thanks. Join us next time and we'll explore some further cybersecurity topics. I hope you enjoyed authentication policies and authentication silos, and hopefully it'll help you in your own environment to secure privileged accounts on ADDS.